Okay, so check this out. The day that changed everything for me. Holy man. Oh, it was in April 2025, this year. It was like sometime in the third week of April. I don't remember the exact night/day, but I feel like it was around April 20th, somewhere in there. And I went to bed. Typical night, normal. Woke up the very next day and everything changed. What I mean is, I was laying in bed and it felt like I was hearing the birds outside so loudly that it felt like they were right in my ear. They're like chirp, 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 like just like it felt like I could hear, like it was amplified. And I saw like the sun shining through my window, and it looked like there was like little twinkle lights in the sun rays, like little sprites, just like, and I'm like, what am I seeing? Why are these birds so loud? I get up out of bed and it felt like I was like floating. It felt like I was just kind of like floating around. It was like all of my senses were heightened. Like everything was shinier, everything was louder, everything that I touched, I was just aware of, I was more conscious of. My coffee, my coffee tasted like no other cup of coffee I've ever tasted in my life. And it was the same coffee that I've ever, unbelievable. Unbelievable, the physical sensations that were happening for me. And they happened for about a week. For some reason, I didn't have any kind of hunger. Like I wasn't hungry, which is weird for me because I loved eating, that's my thing. It felt like it was in the way. Like it would take too much time. Like I don't want to bother myself with eating. I remember my sister asking me if I wanted something, which I really loved. And I was like, nah, no thanks. Just felt like work, effort, not necessary. I just never felt hungry. I'm telling you, it was so odd for me. And, especially lasting as long as it did. For like 3 or 4 days, I would have to like force myself to just have something light. And when I did have something, the taste was amplified again, with the senses being heightened. I was just like so grateful for this food and just like so appreciative that it was given to me and that it tasted so good. Conversations that I would have with people throughout this week, this transformative week. I would be talking to somebody and I would have to hold my hands over my heart as I was having the conversations. Just day-to-day regular conversations, going to work. It felt like my heart was outside of its chest. It felt like again, with the heightened feelings, my heart was extra loving, like this amplified love I had. If somebody was talking to me about something that was, I don't know, bothering them, I had this great concern, this like extra concern that I have never had in the past. I was never really a very empathetic and compassionate person up until my spiritual awakening, which I discovered was part of the journey. It was part of me to learn that. And I'm getting off topic here. Anyways, I started having like this genuine empathy and compassion, which I've never had really before. I cared about people, but it wasn't to this point. And if somebody was telling me something that was deeply emotional, I would cry. tears would run down my face. If somebody was trying to make a joke or be funny, I would laugh extra, extra loud, extra hard. My emotions were amplified. My heart felt like I was outside of my chest. It felt like I was floating around. I had this deeper appreciation that I never had for other people, other connections in my life. And then that's when I was like, what is happening to me? Why is my body reacting this way? What am I going through? What is this? And I just started feeling like, for example, coworkers of mine whom I would always say that I liked, that I loved, that I trusted, that were a part of my circle, suddenly I just like really loved them. I really loved who they are. I was genuinely interested in their stories and their life and their kids' life and their everything. Like I just started asking questions. It's just like it felt like I was walking around with my head down my whole life. And suddenly I just picked my head up. And that is the day, that is the week that changed my whole life. And I call that my spiritual awakening. Now, I know that spiritual awakenings last over a period of time. You know, the whole twin flame journey itself is a spiritual awakening from this moment you meet your twin, you know, till unity consciousness. I get is one large spiritual awakening, but I call that week my spontaneous spiritual awakening. It happened to me. It is a real thing. And I started doing research because I needed to know what was going on with me. And I was on YouTube and I was, typing in symptoms. I don't remember exactly how I came about the discovery of what I was going through, but sure as shit, spiritual awakenings are real. Everything that I just described popped up. And then I saw for the first time twin flame. And I've heard the term twin flame before, but didn't care, never gave it a thought. But I cared now because it had all these other things, the spiritual awakening tied to it. And I started to research what twin flame was. And I became obsessed because everything that I was going through all started to make sense now. The obsessive thinking of this person, the dark night of the soul, the depression, not being able to function, thinking about what would it be like if I was no longer in existence, to these physical symptoms that were happening with my body, ringing in my ear, loss of appetite, heightened senses, all came together. And boy, oh boy, was that an exciting discovery. Because guess what? I wasn't crazy. I wasn't obsessed with someone. I didn't have that worry anymore, that fear anymore. It felt awesome to know that it's a real thing and that other people are experiencing it as well. Thousands of people on the twin flame journey. Thousands of people have spiritual awakenings for other reasons, not just meeting your twin, other reasons, like you've heard about near-death experiences and how that causes a spiritual awakening, So this just happens to be my path. And I was like, okay, finally, everything started making sense. And I just really, really, that week, that day, that whole experience, I would have to say it was the greatest thing. Meeting my twin flame and having that experience is the greatest thing that has ever happened to me. So that's what kind of brought me to that conclusion and understanding and knowing where I was. Now, the rest of it, the research and trying to figure out the spiritual talk and, learning from these people who are well versed in spirituality and have been doing this for years and da 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 da. I had a learning curve, you know, going from not believing in anything higher than me to learning what it is that I wanted to and I'm here to do so quickly, so fast, as much as I wanted to do it, you know, learning curve for me, difficult. And I did it. And I am now here to guide you and to show you what it is that you could be going through and what these spiritual words mean. And boy, I have to give a lot of credit to Mary Jo Cranmore from Soulful Revolution TV, because I don't think that I would be here today as far along as I am in my path without her and her teachings. This woman has been with me every single day, not personally, you know, like not like one-on-one coaching, but just her being my spiritual guide. She has really taught me about spirituality. She's taught me about astrology, tarot card reading, understanding what this twin flame journey is about. Just like, holy moly, it was really important to, you know, give her credit, because I needed that. I needed that person. And she was my person. She is my person. To hang on her coattails. To be like, don't let me go. You know? So thank you, Mary Jo. You are amazing. So yeah, I think that kind of wraps up this video, that life-changing moment for me. And we'll go ahead and move on after this.